e tornare un'altra volta a Napoli.
Welcome back to It Movies. Today I will explain the Italian drama Man's film released in the year 2020. Before starting the film, make sure to subscribe and like this video.
Con Alfonso, Giorgia, di chi stiamo parlando? Io capisco che morta siate risi.
The movie begins with a man named Julio. He is a journalist and he is in a relationship with his girlfriend named Giorgia, and soon they're going to get married. Meanwhile, Giorgia and Julio work in the same office the following morning. Julio's boss, Alfonso, tells him that he has to go to Milan for a meeting with the company. Julio wasn't ready to go to Milan because he wanted to go to church with Giorgia before marriage. However, his boss doesn't listen to him and tells him that he must go the next day. Julio packs his bags when he left for the airport. There was a lot of traffic on the road and that's why he had to come back home. Meanwhile, after reaching home, he gets shocked to know that his girlfriend and his boss have an affair. Julio has lost his love and he decides to quit his job as well, while his friend named Ernesto tells him that in this day and when people get to know the truth from social media, he found out the truth and saw his girlfriend cheating with his own eyes. And this is a funny story. On the other hand, Giorgia had no regrets and left Julio and blamed him for her affair. She took all the things from Julio's home and left. Meanwhile, Julio had nothing left. He had no job and nothing in his house. He just has one friend. Time passes, and Ernesto tells him he must get out of his and go out and do something with his life. Meanwhile, Julio wasn't getting a new job because all the newspaper companies think that he is overqualified. Ernesto eyes to him and says that Giorgia and Alfonso live together now, and he must forget her and move on. After hearing that, Julio gets ready to go to a party. At the party, Julio sees a beautiful girl named Valeria. At that moment, Ernesto tells him to go and talk to her. Julio agreed and went to talk. At first, he thought that Valeria was impressed. After a while, she called some men around her. They are her students, and all her students start making fun of Julio. She tells him that he doesn't even know how to talk to a girl, and then she leaves. Julio and Ernesto get upset and start thinking about who those people were. After some days, Julio got a new job in a magazine company named Macho Man, which is a kind of magazine that helps men and gives them tips about how to attract girls. Meanwhile, Julio doesn't know anything about this field. His boss asks him to write in. Buell meets many people to get some information for his article. However, he couldn't get anything for his article, and in the end, he decides to meet Valeria. Later, a man named Gi takes him to the university where Valeria teaches. Buell sees all those people he saw at that party. They were all preparing for the class. After a while, Valeria comes and starts teaching. Meanwhile, she knew that Julio had been sent by the Macho Man magazine. However, she still makes fun of Julio for that. For a moment, Julio gets attracted to Valeria regardless. He focuses on his work. After some time, he started to get information for his articles. Julio understood that for Valeria, love is only a thing that has to do with the body, and that's why all of these things were rubbish for Julio. Meanwhile, he is still in love with Giorgia, and at her mother's funeral, he went to her house. Julio finds out that Giorgia had still not told her family that her marriage is. Julio also finds out that Giorgia and Alfonso had an affair for years. However, she doesn't live with Alfonso anymore. She lives in her own house now. The following day at the office, Julio is told that his articles were very nice and people are buying more magazines. Julio's boss tells him that from now on he will work on the same article. However, Valeria will be his Later, Valeria tells Julio that at the party he came to talk to her, which means he likes her. Julio replied that he went to her just for work and she should only talk about work the following day. Valeria is teaching students how to win any girl's heart in 7 hours. For that, she started practicing with her students. However, it wasn't easy for her to teach them so easily. Ernesto also wanted to impress girls, and that's why he asked Valeria for help. She tells him that he must change himself. Because of all the habits he is living, no girl will ever be impressed by him. At night, Valeria finds out that Julio is still in love with his ex-girlfriend. She tells Julio that she knows he doesn't like her, however, she wants to help him. She further says that he must stop showing himself as weak. From that moment, she started helping Julio with time. She started thinking about Julio. Valeria helps him and he is getting much better. But for the other students, Valeria teaches some special tricks to Julio and Ernesto so they can look more attractive. For some students, the tricks worked and some students couldn't change themselves. Meanwhile, Valeria tells them to change their habits. However, it's not easy to change habits. Julio moves ahead with the article and changes his habits to impress Giorgia, and he is successful at night when Julio talks to Valeria, and she gets impressed. After some days, the company organized a party. Meanwhile, Alfonso and his employees were invited to the party. and the real test of Julio begins at that moment. He sees Georgia and starts talking to her. Julio was a changed man. He was very confident. Georgia was surprised to see him like this. Just at that moment, things changed. When Alfonso and Ernesto came there, Ju loses his confidence after that. He tells everything to Valeria. She was surprised at how can a man in this day and just want to impress one girl because men these days want to impress many girls. Valeria tells him that everyone is born with confidence. However, when he stumbles from time to time, he loses his confidence. She further says, to get back his confidence, he must confront his fears, and for that, he must find a person who humiliated him. Men made him feel low. Meanwhile, they find a girl named Lena. She had broken Julio's heart in school. Valeria teaches Julio some tricks and makes him ready to impress, so Julio can understand that he could impress Lena all this time. After that, Julio goes to meet Lena and starts talking to her. She gets impressed by Julio. Valeria is doing all this so Julio can get rid of his insecurities. Later, one night, Valeria tells him to overcome his fear and go fight with Lena's boyfriend. However, when he fights with him, they beat Julio so badly. He lost a fight, but still, he won because he has no fear. After some days, Julio goes to a beach with his friends. Meanwhile, Georgia and Alfonso were also present at the beach. They again start making fun of Julio and he starts to get scared again. However, Valeria came and took care of him, and then Julio and Valeria start making fun of Georgia and Alfonso. Meanwhile, Georgia ally upset and starts behaving like a crazy woman. She was jealous of them. After a while, they start playing a volleyball match on the beach. Both playing Valeria and Julio came close, and after some time they won the match on one side where Georgia was shouting at Alfonso. On the other hand, Julio was happy thinking that Georgia would come back to him. When he tells Valeria, she gets angry and tells him how he still loves her. After all she had done to him, even after listening to Valeria, he wasn't ready to understand. Suddenly Valeria gets a call and she is informed that his father had a heart. Julio and Valeria go to the hospital. When Valeria's father comes into consciousness, he tells her that he is happy for her and that finally he got a nice man. Regardless, he doesn't know that Julio is her student. At night, Valeria talks to Julio and tells him that she doesn't want to lose his father. She also tells him that when she was 12 years old, her mother fell in love with another man and left them. And since then, she wants to know how a man won her mother's heart, and that is how she started her university. She just wanted her father to be confident and teach him some tricks to make him like that man so she can have her mother back. However, she wasn't successful later to make Valeria feel good. Julio takes her to a bakery where he used to come when he was a kid. Valeria is really happy. They were spending time and slowly they were coming close. Suddenly Julio receives a call from Georgia and she asks them to come to her house. When Valeria finds out that she left without saying, that night when he went to Georgia's house, they instantly get intimate and Julio gets what he wanted all his life. And after that, he realizes that he doesn't love Georgia. In reality, he loves Valeria and wants to get her. That's why he asked Georgia to leave the following morning without wasting any more time. He went to meet Valeria in her class. Julio tells her that he has left Georgia. He wanted to know if Iria loved him or not. She replies that there is nothing like love in her. She further tells him that whatever happened in the bakery was just an attraction that wasn't love. After hearing this, Julio leaves and they both started living their life view. And even if they both are not happy in their life, one day, Valeria's father knows that she is not happy, and that's why he tells her that she shouldn't lose Julio. Their father explained to her that humans are made of blood and love, and that's why love is not just attractive to his wife left him, not because she was in love with another man's body. She left because she found a better man than him. Valeria listened to her father and agreed to what he said. She starts running to the macho man's office. Meanwhile, her father was thinking about who would take him home. When Valeria reached the office, she couldn't find Julio. She is told that Julio quit his job and left his last article. They also tell her that he got a job in a company in France, and he is leaving this country later with the help of. Valeria finds out the address of that private event where Julio was going. They somehow go close to an actress, and now they could go inside the event. However, their plan didn't work and they were stopped except for one of their friends. After that, somehow they got inside with the help of a boat. Suddenly, the boat started sinking. On the other hand, Julio meets the company and signs a contract with them both signing the papers. He sees that Valeria and her friends are drowning without wasting any time. Julio instantly jumps into the water too, and at that time, Valeria comes close to him and tells him that she loves him. She also tells him that thinking about love was wrong. At that moment, Julio tells her that one of his new company branches is also in the city. Valeria starts shouting with happiness because they could sit comfortably and talk. In the end, they express their feelings for each other and start living together. On the other hand, all of your students are still trying to get love in their life. One of her students got his love. Alfonso started practicing though, and Valeria started her new classes where she teaches women how to stay away from the bad man. Georgia has also started attending classes. Julio is getting successful in his work and he hired his old boss from Macho Man magazine as a consultant in the new company. And in the end, all of them got what they wanted all their life, and the movie ends here. Thank you for watching the video. You can subscribe for more. See you next time. Take care.